All right. So this morning we're going to walk through, like I said, creating templates in DocuSign. There have been a couple updates to this process over the last couple months. So hopefully it'll be a lot easier and save you time. So it's not so time consuming. So I'm going to log into my DocuSign. You can just go to rooms.docusign.com. So we'll log in here. And this is going to be your dashboard, and so an overview of all the stuff that you have going on in DocuSign. To create a template, we're going to go to My Docs up here at the top, this tab.
My Docs.
It's taking its time this morning. Click on My Docs again. Well, this is delightful. Yeah, what is it taking so long?
I don't have any clue.
I don't know. Well, another benefit of live training. So trying to get the My Docs tab to work, because I was in here earlier and it worked just fine.
Okay, while you're doing that, on one of the ones I just did, I had the seller fill out the forms when I was reviewing the forms, and he had completed them and signed them. Our program didn't include his address on the documents.
That's interesting.
Yeah, isn't it though?
Yeah, we can talk through that in just after this. All right, so let's try it. I logged back in. Let's click on My Docs, see if it works. I'll just be a little bit more patient and give it some time to load.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll work. There we go. So when you're in My Docs, you have these couple tabs over here, personal forms, and then form templates. So I'm going to click on form templates. And again, taking its nice little time. So I don't have any form templates yet, so we're going to create one. And in the past, to create a template, you'd have had to go back into the e-signature side, upload a PDF copy of the GAR form, then go through and add in all of the text fields that you wanted. Very time consuming, very cumbersome, especially since the GAR forms usually update, in the mid-year. So some of you have to do twice a year. This is going to be much simpler because it's going to lean into all of the text fields that DocuSign has already added to our GAR forms. So to create this form, I'm going to click Create Form Template, and then it's going to pull up all the different forms that I have access to. So very similar to if you wanted to add a document to a room, you can select your library, and then I'm going to select the Georgia Association of Realtors. And then I'm going to search for the documents that I want to use. So these are going to be creating a template for forms that you use most regularly. So think buyer brokerage agreement, listing agreement, purchase and sale. So I am going to search for F201. Actually, let's do F101. So we have our listing agreement. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to click Use. And it's going to load the document just like it would if you were going to update it in the Documents tab. And you'll notice you can go through here. All of the text fields are active, so I can go through and I can put in information. Now, since we're creating a template, we only want to add information for the fields that are going to remain consistent across every single transaction. So I don't want to fill in any information here for the property address or legal description, listing price, commencement date, all of that stuff. But here in section 3 for marketing, I know that every single time I have a listing, I'm going to put it in FMLS, Georgia MLS, and KWLS. So I can go ahead and I can type in first multiple listing service, Georgia multiple listing service, and Keller Williams listing service. because every time I have a listing, this is going to be the same information. Here we have this delivery commencement date. We can just, so I can just go ahead and put 2021 because that's going to be the same. And I can just add 5 days here because that's going to be the same for every listing. Scroll down. Commission. So if you always negotiate 6% with your clients, you can go ahead and you could fill that information in. Now, let's say, 99% of the time when you have a listing, you are paid 6% of that commission, and then you share that 3% with the co-op agent. Let's say this is a family friend and you're going to do them a favor. You can still use this template that says 6%. And then when you load it to actually update for that specific transaction, you do still have the ability to update that. So you can make it 5 or 4 or whatever. And I'll show you how to do that in just a few moments. So I just wanted to add that in there so that way you don't feel that any of the information you add here is going to be set in stone. It's not. It's really just to make it a little bit easier for you and quicker when you have a transaction. So just scrolling through here and select all the information that's going to stay the same. So I always negotiate a 90-day protection period. And then section 6, agency and brokerage. We do not offer dual agency and sub agency at First Atlanta. And the seller does not consent to buyer acting in dual agency. I'm going to go ahead and select those boxes because that's going to be the same across every listing that I have. It doesn't matter. I will never be dual agent or work in sub agency. And I'm going to go ahead and select the seller does authorize that I assist in negotiating. Keep scrolling down. Keep scrolling. All right. Here we have our brochure. So if I know every single time I have a listing agreement, I want to include the ABCs of agency, the mold pamphlet, protect yourself when selling real property. I want to include those 3 every single time. I can just go ahead and select them now. My exhibits and addenda, I don't know what I'm going to have for every single transaction, so I'm just going to leave this blank for now. And then special stipulations. If you have a stipulation that you like to include on every listing agreement, you can go ahead and put that here. So all parties agree this agreement, it's a little redundant, but whatever. Agreement is cancelable with 24-hour written notice. Here is another step, adding a third, lots of steps. So I can just go through and just type those in there. Then I'm going to scroll down, keep going. And now I can fill in all of this information about my brokerage and my information because it's going to be the same across every transaction. So I can go ahead and type in Keller Williams First Atlanta, our MLS office code, KWFA01, license number 33313. Now, some of this information gets annoying when you're actually putting together a transaction because not all the fields load. But by adding this form, they will load every single time, and that way you don't have to worry about typing it in. So let me just quickly add this information. So my license number is going to be the same, 200 Glen Ridge Point Parkway, Suite 100, Atlanta, GA 30342, licensee email address, and then Atlanta. So I've gone through, I've added all the information that I know is going to be the same across every single listing agreement. So I've gotten to the bottom, so I'm going to click Save and Close. Give it a second to save. Perfect. So here I now have in my form templates, my GAR exclusive seller listing agreement. I named it, this name is the same, and I kind of don't want to get confused. So I want to edit. Let's edit this. I want to edit the name up here in the top left-hand corner by clicking on the pencil. And I'm going to say Nicholas Core Template. This is 8/02/21. Save that. Save and close. Just in that way, I can tell the difference between the actual GAR form file and my personal template. So now I can see over here, my template name is updated. Any questions so far?
Nope.
Perfect, yeah. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna create a room. So I'm gonna come over to rooms and I'm just gonna create a new one. And I'm going to name this training 08/02/21. My role will be listing agent or market center. No, agent owner. List side. Save. So now when I go into my documents tab, I'll add in my listing agreement. So I'll come up to the top right-hand corner, click Add DocuSign Forms, select Georgia Association of Realtors. I'm going to search F101, and I'm going to select this document. Now, when I select it, see this, it says template right here, and it says none, but I do have the ability to select the exclusive seller listing agreement Nicholas Core template because DocuSign knows that it's the same form and it's going to be the same field. So I can go ahead and I can select that template here and then click Add Selected. So when DocuSign adds my listing agreement, it's automatically filling in all of those fields from my form template that we just created. So when I open up my listing agreement, and I'll scroll through. You can see here, it already loaded in first multiple listing service, Georgia multiple listing service. Here's the date. Here's my commission. Now, remember I pointed out earlier, like maybe this is a family friend and we're gonna do this commission on a discount for them, but I've already put 6% in my form template. Well, I still have the ability to come through here and edit. So I can update that form in my actual listing agreement in my room. So I've updated that. Scroll down. My checkboxes for dual agency, sub agency, and do not consent to dual agency are all there. Everything's all checked. Scroll down. Now, let's say over here, I want to add in the radon. I can just click that. But let's say I don't want to include the ABCs of agency. I can still uncheck that there. And then down here, I can edit all of my stipulations. So it may be a benefit to you if you have a handful of stipulations that you like to use regularly. You can go ahead and put them in the template, and then you can just come in here and delete the ones that you don't want. Scrolling down. And then there's all my information. So it's preloaded. So that way I don't have to go through with every single listing agreement and type in all of these fields. And I can click Save and Close. And now I'd be able to go through and, send this off to my client. Another way that you can add a template, let me go back to, let's create another template really fast. So I'm going to go back to my docs, form templates. Let's create form template. Georgia Association of Realtors. Now let's do the purchase and sale agreement. So I'm going to click use. It's going to open it up. Now, before I actually start anything, let's rename it this time up here in the top left-hand corner, clicking on the pencil. And I'll name this Nicholas Core Template. So I can leave all this information here, because I don't know what the actual property will be. Holder of earnest money, I'm going to go ahead and put KWFA because every time I have a transaction, I want to make sure that First Atlanta is the holder of earnest money. I also want to put Campbell and Brandon in here because I always want to close with them. For earnest money, I'm going to go ahead and select check. It's just easier. For due diligence and stuff, I'm just going to leave that blank. Since I'm the buyer, so I can go ahead and fill in buyer brokerage is Keller Williams, First Atlanta. And this is buyer as a client. Material relationship, I'm going to select NA. Let's keep scrolling, see if there's anything else here. If you have a bunch, you can go ahead and if you know that you're going to include an exhibit every single time, you can do that here. Again, you can type in your steps. Step number 2. Here's another one. One more, just in case. Then I'm going to scroll down. Again, I could go through here and fill in all of my information, which I'm not going to do all of it. 79844, just for time. So now I have all of those fields that are going to be the same across every single purchase and sale agreement that I put together, all set up. So I'm going to click save and close. Now I have my purchase and sale agreement form. So I'm going to go back into my room that I just created. Here's my training 08/02/21. I'm going to go into my Documents tab, click Add, DocuSign Forms, Georgia Association of Realtors, and I'm going to search my F201. Now I'm going to select it. Now remember, originally when we added the listing agreement, I went ahead and I selected the template here. So that way when it loaded the form into my room, it already had all of that information included, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to select none and click add selected. So now it's added my purchase and sale agreement. Now what I can do is I can right mouse click on it and click apply form template. So if you just want to go through and add a bunch of forms to your room, you can, and then you can click on right mouse click apply form template, and it's going to give me the ability to select which template I want to use. Now you'll notice that when I'm on the purchase and sale agreement, it only gives me the ability to use my purchase and sale agreement template. So the system knows it can only use templates for the same exact form. So I wouldn't be able to use the templates from my listing agreement on my purchase and sale form. Excuse me. So I applied that. So now I can open it up. Then I can scroll down, and then here's all my fields that are already filled in. And again, I can scroll through here. I'm going to go down to the stipulations. And I'm going to remove the stip that doesn't matter for this transaction. And then there's all the information. So I guess it included, sorry, because I put myself, this is as a listing. But here's all the information that I included before about from the buyer side. And then click save and close. And it is that easy to create a template. Mary, what questions do you have? What can I show you again about creating a template?
I think I'm gonna have to watch the video whenever I go to do it, because there's a couple steps in there and there's more than it looks like there is. So I'm gonna be fine. You've
Yeah.
done a good job explaining it.
Well, thank you. It's so much simpler than it used to be. Thank the Lord, because it used to be a very cumbersome process. Now these templates are designed just to really help you streamline. So it should hopefully only take a few minutes. I know you said you had a couple questions about some other stuff in DocuSign. Is there anything about form templates that you want to talk through before we jump into those other items?
No, I think that I need to go, same story. My process is to hear you, then apply it, and then I'll know what I didn't get.
Okay, well, perfect. Anything else I can help with this morning?
Well, I asked on that one, I've got one where